what are all the potential pitfalls where the deal could go wrong, and how do I protect against them? That is how I use it. Is I say, where does this deal die, and how do we, and where does this company go, and where do things go off, and how do we protect against that?
Charlie Munger, right? He has this inversion principle, which is very interesting, which is you, before you make a decision, you figure out all the things that can go wrong. And
Yeah,
then so I was wondering whether you use that because I could think of some examples in my case, right?
I like inversion thinking, and I think that my favorite thing that Charlie Munger said about it is, tell me where I am going to die so I never go there. So what that really means to me is, what are all the potential pitfalls where the deal could go wrong, and how do I protect against them? That is how I use it. Is I say, where does this deal die, and how do we, and where does this company go, and where do things go off, and how do we protect against that? I don't consider that to be negative thinking. I don't really talk about it with the seller unless it's a specific concern.
Mhm.
But I do think that it is a fantastic way to approach things. So I like inversion thinking as a concept, and the way that I apply it in the deal is, where could things go wrong, and what are my fallback positions, all the way to the proposal I'm going to make at the offer to do the deal. Probably I won't get the first thing that I throw out there. Maybe I will, and sometimes I do, and it blows me away and it's great. But what are my fallback positions, so that I know that in advance? And that, I think, is very, very helpful. And then same thing, what could go wrong? Well, in the deal that we just talked about a second ago, what could go wrong is one of the clients that represents 50% of the business could go away. How do I not be affected by that? I need to make that my acquisition of that company have terms that address the possibility that that could happen. So that's really scenario planning. And I think that if you're doing that, then you're only going to have a better deal.
Got it. Like, so an example here would be short-term rental property management, right? So the things that could go wrong is neighbors. You could have neighbors who are very, anti short-term rental and they can create problems. You could have rules and regulations that could be a problem. So I guess that those were the things that I was thinking about.
Yeah, I
And
helped one of the larger management companies that had, I think they had about 700 or 800 homes under management, luxury properties all along the West Coast, with an exit to a bigger company. And in that deal, the valuation got about a $20 million downward adjustment, because one of the counties in the coastal areas that had, maybe 40 or 50 properties that this company was managing, enacted a law that said that you had to be licensed, and there was a limited number of licenses. And so that risk freaked out the potential buyer, and we had to negotiate with that. So it's definitely, I think that I would look at, yes, neighbors, but more likely covenants, conditions, and restrictions, the CC&Rs on the properties, if it's subject to that, local zoning, and other legislation would all be things I would be very concerned about.